I'm here with Steven Daines, Chief Executive Officer of Accor Hotels for the Middle East and Africa, and also Chief Executive of New Business for Accor Hotels. Steven, thank you so much for joining us, for being one of our key sponsors, and we're delighted to have you with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, Iran is a very exciting country to start in for all of us. And so thank you for organizing that conference, because I think today Iran is still at this stage where it takes a bit of risk-taking to come here.
But you've been great risk takers in the past with what you've done in Africa, of course, and your aggressive rollout plan there, in Russia now as well. So this is a natural for you.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we love being pioneers. We did it also in South America. I was in South America personally for many years. And there I just saw, and I was saying on stage, I saw how Peru or a country like Colombia with a mixed history in terms of public communication and marketing, gradually getting into that virtuous circle of travel and tourism. So it's very exciting to do it again, yes, here in Iran.
So what are some of the challenges you face in operating a hotel in Iran? I mean, you're the first to launch, of course, at the airport with your Novotel and your Ibis Hotel, which is a fabulous product, by the way.
Thank you. Well, actually, we've been remarkably surprised, positively surprised by the degree of the good reaction of both customers and staff to this new opportunity. What we felt is that Iranians actually have a very strong sense of hospitality. It's part of their culture. And obviously in the past years, because of their recent history, they haven't been able to display that. But when they can, they're just so eager to show and nearly overdo it. So on the operational side, to answer your question, it's actually been not an easy ride, because obviously they're not used to international standards, so there's a lot of education to be done. But there's a very good ground to grow things on. Education is very good. There's a robust middle class in Iran, which is something that you don't see in all emerging countries.
So in terms of your pipeline, because now you can showcase your product that you have at the airport, it must be easier now for you to roll out that product throughout Iran.
It's easier, but there are still difficulties in attracting investors. And that's not only foreign investors, but also Iranian investors. So although everybody agrees that there is that potential, I guess the key issue for this conference addressing is precisely that. Why do we feel as operators that investors, despite those first steps, despite the government being so keen to develop tourism, despite this first international brand, still we feel there's a lot of fear? And also there are some technical issues on the financing side. High interest rates. High interest rates is an issue. Interest rates are much higher than inflation, and that gap for investors make it difficult to create leverage. So you need to find investors who actually have cash. And what we're finding at the moment is that foreign investors are still a little bit wary of the whole situation. They fear they might invest and never be able to retrieve their capital, or that it might lose their value. And Iranians, interestingly, are for the moment somehow focused on other kinds of investments, like shopping centers, malls. That seems to be the fashion. That seems on paper to give higher returns. I think this is typical of an economy just burgeoning, just starting to open up. So people go for some first kind of investment. They all rush towards that. I think they'll find that shopping centers sometimes are disappointing in terms of return on investment, and they'll start diversifying, and it'll take a bit of time, that's all.
So one of the opportunities must be in the mixed-use projects as well, because that'll help fund fund the hotel development, of course, as well.
We're trying everything at the moment to put together some projects, so that includes, obviously, and we're a great specialist of that at Accor, building combos with various brands serving different marketing segments, so that the investor is spreading his risk marketing-wise between, say, an eco brand and an upscale brand. And mixed use, yes, obviously, we're working hard. We have a lot of experience of mixed use with offices or with residential, and so there's a lot of projects going around trying to get the mathematics right.
Now, just tell me very briefly on your role as Chief Executive of New Business. I mean, that sounds terribly exciting. And you have really been an innovator and a disruptor for the hotel industry, which is great to see. So you're trying to disrupt the disruptors, I assume.
That's exactly it. I was going to say, I mean, unfortunately, we weren't the first disruptors. But Sébastien Bazin, as you know, I mean, is a little bit upset that somehow the hospitality missed the Airbnb opportunity, say, and he certainly doesn't want that to happen again. So what we're doing is, as a hospitality company, totally centered on services, we're trying to diversify a little bit our portfolio of activities and launch, yes, into, say, conciergerie services or digital services for independent hotels or luxury private rental. So they're on the verge of what has been our core business, hotel operation. And we're very excited because we see tremendous opportunity for growth in these new businesses.
So if we have a nice young startup company, we should come visit you to see if you would take it on, or certainly perhaps incubate the new concept.
Yes, that's the challenge. I think in a lot of sectors, not only the hospitality sector, large companies are incubating, as you say. And the challenge is of integrating without integrating. So you're exactly right. I mean, we want to be incubators. We want these young entrepreneurs that come and that sell their business to us. We want them to benefit from our support, but we don't want to stifle them, suffocate them. So we have to keep at a respectable distance. They're often young and dashing, and they're not particularly keen on joining a huge company. They don't like big headquarters and thick carpets. So that's the challenge. But working with these young entrepreneurs is fascinating. So yes, if you know any young entrepreneur, send him to me.
Absolutely, we'll definitely do that. But I suppose that helps you with that whole entrepreneurial spirit and management of your company as well, by being influenced by youngsters who are doing things differently.
Yes, that is definitely one of Sebastian's goals in doing that, is forcing somehow the rest of the organization to be more lively, to be quicker at decision making, and but these youngsters, they also have things that they can learn from us, and for example, it's a world that is dominated by a rush to build top line, and we have to teach them that making money in capitalism is the end game, right?
No, absolutely, understood.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah. Great. Well, listen, Steven, thank you so much. And one last question: are you finding the conference useful?
Yes, I think it's tremendously useful to bring together those different parties, Iranians, to hear about our experience in other countries. So yes, of course, bringing together people, and for the government to have sent top representatives is great. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and thank you so much for your support as well, Steven. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.